There is a profound and often uncomfortable truth that most people spend their lives avoiding. No one is coming to save you. No external force, no perfect opportunity, no benevolent person will suddenly arrive to hand you the life you dream of. Your circumstances, your growth, your success, they all begin and end with one irreversible decision: to channel every ounce of your energy inward toward your own development. Every ambition burning inside you, every milestone you long to reach, every version of your future self that feels just out of grasp, it all rests on your willingness to prioritize yourself relentlessly. This means committing without distractions pulling you away, without excuses softening the effort, and without waiting for anyone else's approval or timing. You have to sculpt yourself into a person so unbreakable that failures bounce off you, rejections fuel you rather than stop you, and obstacles become stepping stones rather than walls. The world consistently rewards those who have mastered self-direction, those who invest deeply in their own vision, discipline, and resilience. It does not reward those who scatter blame outward or those who passively wait for conditions to improve. The true victors are the ones who maintain an unwavering, almost obsessive focus on their personal evolution, their chosen path, their inner strength. Focus on yourself until you achieve victory. Because if you do not take ownership of this, no one else will step in to do it for you. Today could mark the pivotal shift, the moment you cease looking externally for solutions and begin the deliberate daily construction of the life you truly deserve, built entirely from your own efforts and choices. Stay with me through this journey, because what follows could be the most transformative perspective you ever adopt. Chapter 1. Commit completely to strengthening yourself every day. You must commit completely to strengthening yourself every single day, treating it as the non-negotiable foundation of everything you want to achieve. In a world that never pauses, where opportunities arise and vanish quickly, where competition grows fiercer, where time compounds either for or against you, taking even a single day off of intentional self-improvement is a luxury you cannot afford. Every hour you allow to pass without directing effort toward your growth quietly works against your future. You are either actively constructing the reality you desire, brick by deliberate brick, or you are inadvertently drifting further into a life marked by regret and unfulfilled potential. There is no middle ground. Momentum builds in one direction or the other. Most individuals never break through to their highest levels, not because they lack innate ability or resources, but because they fail to sustain focused attention on themselves over extended periods. They get caught up observing the highlights of others' lives, trapped in cycles of comparison that drain their energy, or endlessly diverted by superficial distractions that offer temporary relief but long-term emptiness. The most powerful gift you can offer yourself is unwavering daily dedication. This means committing to becoming physically stronger, mentally sharper, emotionally more resilient, and habitually more disciplined. It is not a sporadic burst of effort when motivation strikes or circumstances feel ideal. It is a conscious choice renewed every morning, performed consistently even when enthusiasm is low, when fatigue sets in, or when immediate rewards are absent. This commitment begins with a clear internal declaration. You will no longer permit days to evaporate without meaningful investment in your own advancement. You will dedicate more effort to refining yourself than to any external pursuit, whether that's a job, relationships, or entertainment. Your most empowered self will not materialize through wishful thinking or external intervention. Your mental clarity will not deepen without deliberate practice. Your discipline will not emerge spontaneously from the ether. You alone hold the responsibility for bringing it into existence. And while grand transformations sound appealing, real progress starts in modest, repeatable actions. Choosing an hour of focused learning over passive scrolling, selecting a demanding workout over comfortable inactivity, opting for nourishing food over quick indulgence. It starts in quiet moments of honest goal setting, where you map out what truly matters and align your daily behavior accordingly. These seemingly small choices accumulate powerfully over time, forming the structure of your strongest self. But interruption in this process, days or weeks where self-focus lapses, creates cracks in the foundation. You must persist through the periods when life feels uncomplicated and rewarding, but especially through the challenging phases, when exhaustion dominates, when discouragement whispers quit, when progress feels invisible and external recognition is non-existent. It is precisely in those unseen struggles that the most significant forging occurs. That is where you establish an unbreakable base, a future resilient to external shocks, because it is rooted in your consistent, private effort. Genuine strength is rarely forged in spotlight moments or under applause. It is cultivated in solitude, in the daily grind, when no audience observes and no immediate validation arrives. Your strongest self emerges from sustained, purposeful action rather than fleeting intentions or motivational highs. You become the reliable force in your own life, the one who consistently appears for personal growth, refusing excuses, refusing to shift responsibility elsewhere, refusing to depend on transient feelings of inspiration. Inspiration will not arrive as a savior. You create forward motion through steady, repeated choices. Consistency, though often dismissed as mundane or unglamorous, is the genuine mechanism of profound change. Each day you prioritize your own development, you inch closer to your deepest aspirations.
Each day you invest in expanding your capabilities. Those capabilities compound, opening doors previously invisible. Visible results may take time to manifest, but their arrival is inevitable for those who refuse to waver. The world consistently elevates individuals who maintain commitment long after others have lost interest or energy. It elevates those who continue placing bets on their own potential, even when evidence feels scarce or odds appear stacked. Take an honest inventory. Are you genuinely engaged in daily self-strengthening, or are you primarily engaged in self-distraction? Are you proactively advancing your own agenda, or are you allowing external forces to dictate your direction? This confrontation, though uncomfortable, is liberating because it reveals the precise point of leverage. If your efforts are not yielding increasing strength, they are inadvertently contributing to decline. If you are not consistently moving toward your goals, you are effectively moving away from them. Life offers no true stasis, only growth or erosion. Personal development is not an elective, it is the fundamental requirement for a meaningful existence. Protect your daily focus with the intensity it deserves, recognizing that in an environment designed to fragment attention, concentrated self-investment is your ultimate advantage. Every digital ping, every trivial drama, every negative influence is actively competing for the resource that ultimately determines your destiny, your undivided attention. You must vigilantly guard the gateway to your mind, permitting entry only to that which serves your elevation. Your attention is not merely a commodity, it is the architect of your reality. When you fully commit to daily self-strengthening, your entire worldview transforms. You no longer crave external validation to feel worthy. You no longer require permission to pursue ambitious paths. You no longer expend energy defending your choices to those incapable of understanding your drive. You no longer carry guilt for desiring substantial improvement in your life. You begin standing with unshakable confidence in your current state and your ongoing evolution. Recognize this fundamental reality. No external entity will undertake the work of building your inner strength. That duty belongs exclusively to you, and it is the single most crucial responsibility you will ever hold. You must value yourself sufficiently to perform the necessary labor, to exchange immediate gratification for enduring capability, to select expansion over stagnation, to construct a future robust enough to withstand any adversity with dignity. Every sunrise presents another invitation to reinforce yourself, another chance to demonstrate genuine commitment to your long-term vision. These days are not infinite. Treat each as the precious resource it is, a unique block in the structure you are erecting. The profound beauty of this daily self-focus lies in its ripple effect. As your inner strength grows, every external domain improves correspondingly. Your connections deepen, your vital vitality increases, your financial position stabilizes, your self-assurance solidifies. But the origin is always internal. It always begins with you. If you maintain focus on yourself until victory arrives, you will eventually recognize that victory itself was not the ultimate reward. The true prize is the extraordinary individual you became through the process. Your strongest self resides on the opposite side of consistent discipline, meaningful sacrifice, and daily renewal. Everything you need is already within you. You do not require superior talent or external rescue. You require only a level of self-commitment deeper than any you have previously demonstrated. Initiate that commitment today, not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, today. Fully commit to strengthening yourself today, then awaken tomorrow and renew it. Accumulate those committed days. Accumulate those intentional choices. Observe as your existence undergoes profound transformation. Observe as your confidence becomes rooted in evidence. Observe as your strength evolves into something truly unbreakable. This is the pathway to genuine victory, not through wishful thinking or fortunate circumstances, but through daily, complete, unrelenting focus on you. Chapter 2. Discipline your mind to tune out external noise. Every day you are surrounded by noise, endless opinions circulating, distractions competing for your limited energy, voices attempting to define your identity and dictate your choices. If you are not vigilant, you can easily spend decades living according to others' expectations, gradually losing connection with your own authentic direction and potential. This is why actively disciplining your mind to filter out external noise is not merely helpful, it is absolutely essential for any meaningful personal progress. Your capacity for focused attention is limited and precious. You cannot indiscriminately allocate it to every person, every opinion, every diversion, without leaving insufficient reserves for your own priorities and dreams. When you do, your deepest aspirations gradually fade, your vital energy dissipates, and your confidence erodes, because a strong, clear mind cannot be cultivated in an environment constantly flooded with irrelevant input. You must protect your mental space as fiercely as you would protect your most valuable physical possession, because your mind is precisely that, the core asset determining the quality and direction of your entire life. The world will never run out of commentary. People will never cease forming and sharing opinions about your choices, your pace, your ambitions. But those opinions do not construct your daily reality, do not contribute to your obligations, do not shape the future you are capable of creating. Your deliberate actions do. Your conscious choices do. Your daily focus and priorities do. The instant you begin absorbing and responding to every external opinion, you voluntarily surrender your personal agency. You start questioning your own judgment, doubting your chosen path, decelerating your progress, and often reducing your ambitions to align with others' more limited perspectives. Disciplining your mind to ignore irrelevant noise is fundamentally about developing deep inner resilience, becoming so firmly rooted in your personal purpose that external turbulence cannot uproot you. It is about achieving such clear self-understanding that others' words lose their power to alter your trajectory. This practice is not rooted in arrogance or dismissal of others. It is rooted in profound clarity about your own life's importance and the recognition that allowing it to be derailed by others' insecurities or doubts is unacceptable. The process begins with gaining absolute clarity on what genuinely matters to you, your core values, your long-term vision, your non-negotiable priorities. This clarity functions as an internal filter, making it dramatically easier to identify and dismiss noise. Not every passing comment requires your mental processing or emotional response. Not every potential distraction deserves your finite energy. If something does not actively advance your purpose or contribute to your personal strengthening, categorize it as noise and release it. You must deliberately selective about where your attention flows. This means consciously protecting your mind from streams of negativity, gossip, envy-driven comparisons, fear-based warnings, and anything else that depletes rather than replenishes your inner resources. You cannot permit yourself to be repeatedly drawn into conflicts that serve no constructive purpose, or to spend precious time justifying your path to individuals fundamentally committed to misunderstanding it. Living according to externally imposed standards is the quiet killer of extraordinary potential. Instead, train your mind to maintain inner calm when the external world grows chaotic. Practice elevating your own authentic voice above the surrounding clamor.
Develop the ability to trust your instincts and decisions even when they lack external endorsement. Real inner strength is demonstrated by continuing forward without requiring constant reassurance or validation from others. You need no one's permission to pursue what calls to you most deeply. The only voice that truly requires your consistent attention is the internal one, reminding you of your capacity for greater things. Critics will inevitably appear. Doubters will surface regularly. Some individuals will perceive your focused ambition as threatening or unrealistic. Their perspective is their own limitation, not a reflection of your possibilities. Your responsibility is to prevent their noise from penetrating and disrupting your mental clarity, to maintain a mind that remains clean, strong, and purposefully directed. When you successfully discipline your mind in this way, several powerful shifts occur. You gain momentum because mental energy is no longer wasted on irrelevant battles. You think with greater sharpness because your cognitive space is uncluttered. You feel emotionally lighter because you are no longer carrying the weight of others' judgments. You stop apologizing for pursuing substantial growth in your life. You stop diminishing your presence or ambitions to accommodate others' discomfort. You begin operating from a source of power that remains stable regardless of external fluctuations. This mental discipline is not about pretending noise does not exist. It is about perceiving it accurately for what it is, transient and irrelevant to your core path, and consciously choosing not to invest your irreplaceable energy in it. It is about hearing the sound, but internally declaring, "This is not my concern." It is about remaining steadfastly committed to your objectives, no matter what temporary storms the outside world generates. It is about cultivating a level of mental resilience capable of absorbing rejection, criticism, temporary failures, and unexpected delays, while continuing to advance with unwavering conviction. Life will present daily opportunities to test this discipline, temptations to react defensively to criticism, to engage in unnecessary debates, to explain your choices exhaustively, to seek reassurance through approval. Each time you consciously rise above these temptations and redirect your energy inward, you strengthen your mental muscle. Each time you opt for focused progress over reactive engagement, you refine your capacity for sustained concentration. You develop a mindset that external chaos cannot easily disrupt. There is extraordinary freedom in reaching this level of mental discipline. When you no longer require the world to comprehend your path, you are liberated to walk it fully. When your confidence is internally generated rather than externally borrowed, you are liberated from the exhausting cycle of seeking validation. When criticism no longer holds the power to redefine your self-perception, you are liberated to pursue your highest potential without artificial constraints. This freedom creates the space and energy necessary to achieve what others deem impossible. Make the conscious decision today. Your aspirations are far too important to be sacrificed on the altar of irrelevant noise. Your inner peace is far more valuable than the temporary satisfaction of winning pointless arguments. Your personal energy is far too sacred to be expended on dynamics that do not contribute to your growth. Each day you actively practice this mental filtering, you move closer to true mastery over your own mind. Each day you successfully guard your mental space, you draw nearer to living a life you can regard with genuine pride and fulfillment. Focus, inner strength, and emotional peace are not accidental. They are the results of daily choices. You possess the complete authority to make those choices consistently. You possess the power to reject noise and embrace the future you are capable of creating. The path will not always be effortless. Certain days the external noise will feel overwhelmingly loud. Distractions will appear endless. The social pressure to conform or respond will feel intense. But you must cultivate the strength to remain the calmer force. Continually remind yourself of your original purpose. Remind yourself what is truly at stake. Remind yourself that authentic greatness has never been achieved by following the majority's loudest voices. Greatness has always belonged to those with the courage to maintain their inner direction, even if it means walking in relative solitude when necessary. You bear full responsibility for the quality of life you construct, for the influences you permit into your mental space, for the mindset you carry forward each day. The stronger and more disciplined your mind becomes, the clearer and more direct your path forward appears. The clearer your path forward, the more rapidly you progress along it. The more rapidly you progress, the closer you move toward the existence you were genuinely meant to live. External noise will never fully disappear. It is a permanent feature of the world. But you have the capacity to become different. Stronger in your resolve, wiser in your selections, more deeply centered in your purpose. You will not yield to every passing disturbance. You will not fracture under every critical comment. You will not lose your core identity in the pursuit of approval that ultimately holds no real value. Discipline your mind until you can register the noise without being affected by it, until you can continue your forward motion undeterred. Discipline it until you can stand confidently in your personal truth, regardless of external contradiction. Discipline it until your internal certainty completely replaces any lingering need for external confirmation. This is your season. This is your life to shape. Do not diminish it by absorbing irrelevant noise. Instead, focus intensely on forging the future you deserve. Focus on evolving into the person you were designed to become. Focus on remaining authentically aligned with your inner direction, no matter how intense the external volume becomes.
If you maintain this authenticity, this commitment, this centered focus, you will ultimately prevail. Because no external force can permanently halt a mind that has mastered the art of refusal to surrender. Chapter 3. Defend your dreams when belief is scarce.
Inevitably arrives a defining moment when you must confront a stark reality. If you do not actively defend your dreams with fierce determination, no one else will undertake that role for you. People around you may genuinely care and wish you well, but they cannot access the unique vision that lives within you. They cannot fully grasp the internal fire driving your pursuit. When you choose to reach for something beyond conventional comfort or expected norms, you will almost certainly encounter doubt, skepticism, or outright discouragement from others. Their role is not to provide unwavering belief in your vision. That responsibility rests entirely with you. When external belief feels scarce or entirely absent, you stand at a critical crossroads. You can either retreat, shrinking your ambitions to align with others' more limited expectations, or you can choose to intensify your commitment, pushing forward with even greater resolve, precisely because you understand the depth and significance of what you are building, something others cannot yet perceive. Countless potentially extraordinary lives have been diminished or derailed because someone close, family, friends, colleagues, declared the pursuit impossible or unwise. You must internalize this. Belief from others is not a prerequisite for your progress. Unshakable self-belief is your personal obligation. Defending your dreams is frequently solitary work that demands deep internal resources. You will spend time alone in reflection, wrestling with questions about whether your aspirations are realistic or if you are somehow deluded for wanting more than the status quo. You will experience mornings where doubt feels like a physical weight pressing down, making action feel nearly impossible. You will endure extended periods where tangible results remain hidden, leaving you with nothing but your own conviction to sustain forward motion. Yet that personal conviction, when protected and nurtured, is more than sufficient. It is the spark that has ignited every significant human achievement throughout history. The rare ability to maintain belief in something meaningful, even when no external evidence yet supports it. Most people remain confined within comfortable, predictable boundaries because pursuing anything larger inevitably invites discomfort, uncertainty, and external questioning. Small, safe dreams rarely provoke fear or resistance in others. But when you decide to transcend those boundaries, when you commit to creating something uncommon or transformative, you should anticipate resistance, including from those closest to you, who may raise concerns, question your decisions, or express worry rooted in their own experiences and limitations. This does not necessarily indicate ill will. It often reflects their own unexamined fears or constrained perspectives projecting on your possibilities. You must develop the strength to continue despite this.
Remind yourself regularly that your particular dream was placed within you for specific reasons. If others were intended to fully comprehend and champion it from the beginning, they would have received the same internal calling. But they did not. You did. It is deeply personal to you. It is sacred in its uniqueness. It is worthy of your most vigorous defense. The defense required is not only against external skepticism, but equally against internal fluctuations. External voices can be loud and persistent, but the internal voice of doubt can sometimes be even more insidious, suggesting that perhaps the skeptics are correct, urging you to settle for easier paths, tempting you to return to familiar comfort. You must develop the capacity to override these momentary emotional currents on difficult days. You must become your own most reliable leader when external support feels absent or when no one else seems to notice your effort. Genuine defenders of meaningful pursuits are driven primarily by internal purpose rather than external praise or recognition. They are not waiting for crowds to gather and cheer. They are too occupied with the daily labor of construction, laying one foundational piece after another, often in relative obscurity. They understand that genuine respect and acknowledgement tend to arrive after sustained results become visible, not before effort has been proven. They are willing to accept temporary solitude in exchange for future authenticity. When you consistently defend your dreams in this way, you develop a form of inner toughness that cannot be imitated or purchased. You earn a resilience that equips you to handle increasing levels of pressure and responsibility. You cultivate a character capable of withstanding intense scrutiny and challenge. Every external rejection sharpens your focus and resourcefulness.
Every no you encounter forces you to discover deeper wells of creativity and determination. Every apparent setback becomes advanced training and strategic persistence. No sincere effort in defense of something authentic is ever truly wasted. Every challenge overcome leaves a permanent mark of growth, a testament to your refusal to retreat. Make this crystal clear in your mind. Your dream possesses genuine significance, not merely for potential external achievements, but because the pursuit itself transforms you into your highest possible self. It demands and develops discipline, sustained focus, creative problem-solving, and unrelenting persistence. It calls forth your finest qualities, qualities that might otherwise remain dormant in a life of comfort and conformity. Dreams serve as powerful vehicles for personal evolution, functioning as rigorous training grounds where true excellence is forged. You will not always feel inherently bold or capable. There will be extended periods where you question every aspect of your direction and ability. This is an expected part of any worthwhile pursuit. Courage is not defined by the complete absence of fear or doubt. It is defined by continued action in their presence, by rising again after moments of discouragement, by renewing your internal belief each new day, even when the previous one ended in disappointment or apparent failure. There will be points where surrendering feels logically justifiable, when progress slows dramatically, when results arrive far later than anticipated, when your sustained effort seems unnoticed by anyone else. These are the precise moments to double down on your internal conviction, reminding yourself that you are not pursuing this path for immediate external attention or validation. You are pursuing it to create the future you once promised yourself, to honor the internal vision that continues to pull at you despite obstacles. Ultimately, no one else can fight this particular battle on your behalf. They may offer encouragement or express support, but when the difficult moments arrive, it is you facing your own excuses, your own doubts, your own temptations to settle for less.
It is you who must decide whether to continue advancing even when current impact feels minimal or absent. True victors are not those who never experience discouragement or confusion. They are those who experience it fully, yet continue moving anyway. They are not those who always possess perfect clarity. They are those who take deliberate next steps even when the path ahead appears foggy. They are not those who rely on fortunate breaks falling into their lap. They are those who remain present and prepared long enough for opportunities to be recognized and seized when they do appear. Defending your dreams requires coming to terms with the reality that not everyone in your life will understand or support your direction. It requires releasing the need to repeatedly explain or justify your choices to individuals who have not demonstrated willingness to pursue their own deeper callings. It requires building and maintaining confidence from internal sources rather than borrowing it temporarily from external approval. It requires keeping your gaze fixed firmly on the life you have determined is possible and refusing to keep looking backward at comfort you have outgrown. Even when close relationships experience strain or distance because of your commitment, when the emotional cost feels high, when exhaustion threatens to overwhelm, remember that each day you continue defending your vision, you are simultaneously winning important internal battles. You are forging a character capable of withstanding virtually anything life presents. One day you will occupy the reality you once only envisioned. Looking backward from that vantage point, every period of solitude, every stretch of unseen effort, every moment of defended belief will reveal itself as profoundly worthwhile. Those who once expressed doubt will remain in essentially the same position, still commenting, still questioning, still waiting for external circumstances or people to create change for them. But you will have transformed, possessing tangible evidence that sustained personal belief combined with persistent action fundamentally alters reality. Never offer apologies for fiercely defending your dreams. Never experience guilt for choosing a path that others find intimidating or unfamiliar. Never dilute your ambition to accommodate others' comfort levels. Defend your vision as though your fullest possible life depends on it, because in the deepest sense, it truly does. Your future self, the version living with genuine fulfillment and peace of mind, relies on the intensity of defense you bring today. There will come a time when explanation becomes unnecessary, because visible results will communicate more powerfully than words ever could. There will come a time when your sustained perseverance becomes inspiration for others facing similar challenges. But reaching that point requires continued effort, continued internal belief, continued forward motion right now, especially when external belief feels most scarce. Do not wait for others to become your primary source of conviction. Become your own most reliable believer. Become your own most determined defender. Become your own live-in proof that focused persistence changes everything. When fatigue inevitably arrives, remind yourself, dreams are not awarded to those who appear strongest at the starting line or move fastest initially. They are awarded to those who demonstrate the deepest refusal to quit when the path becomes most demanding. Defend your dreams when the journey feels hardest. Defend them when solitude is your primary companion. Defend them when your effort feels completely unseen. You owe yourself the opportunity to discover exactly how far your commitment can carry you. You owe yourself the experience of becoming someone capable of far greater things than you currently imagine. Because one day, others will look at your achieved reality and acknowledge what you always knew internally. But by that point, their acknowledgement will be secondary. You will already be fully inhabiting the dream you refused to abandon, built through your own unrelenting defense. Chapter 4. Be present for yourself without fail each day. If you desire any genuinely significant transformation in your life, you must cultivate the habit of being present for yourself without fail each day, not intermittently when conditions feel favorable, not only during bursts of high motivation, but consistently, day after day. Because extraordinary lives are never constructed from isolated moments of inspiration. They are built through steady, daily commitment, particularly during periods when no external observation or reward is present. Most people fall short of their true potential, not due to insufficient talent or opportunity, but due to chronic inconsistency in their personal effort.
They demonstrate strong presence for brief periods, perhaps a motivated Monday or an energized week, but then disappear from their own priorities for extended stretches, allowing momentum to dissipate and old patterns to reassert control. You cannot build lasting victory on such an unstable foundation. You must evolve into the type of person who reliably shows up for personal commitments regardless of transient emotional states or external circumstances. You must develop the capacity to trust your own word to yourself. When you declare an intention or set a direction, you follow through without requiring constant external reminders or accountability. The world consistently opens pathways and opportunities for individuals who demonstrate this level of steadfast, personal reliability. Life rewards those who remain engaged in their own growth process through quiet periods, challenging periods, uncelebrated periods. Success is drawn to those who continue deliberate action, even on days when progress feels minimal, tasks feel mundane, or discomfort feels acute. When you establish a pattern of daily presence for yourself, you cultivate a form of deep self-respect that becomes virtually impossible for external forces to erode. You no longer require praise or visible progress to sustain effort. You no longer depend on perfect conditions or external signs to confirm your worthiness. You develop an internal knowing of your own value because you consistently demonstrate it through your actions, day after day, choice after choice. Being present is not about achieving flawless execution or dramatic daily breakthroughs. It is about fundamental reliability, showing up for yourself when it truly matters, making meaningful progress even when that progress appears incremental or slow from the outside. It is about recognizing that consistent small advancement compounds far more powerfully than sporadic large efforts separated by long periods of absence. There will inevitably be days when presence feels extraordinarily difficult, when physical or emotional energy is depleted, when excuses sound particularly convincing, when the distance to your goals feels impossibly vast, and the entire pursuit begins to feel questionable. These are the days that carry the greatest weight. These are the days that reveal whether your commitment is genuine or conditional. These are the days that ultimately distinguish those who merely dream from those who actually achieve. These are the days when you prove to yourself that your long-term vision holds greater importance than your short-term emotional state. You must actively train yourself to become someone you can depend on, not just in your commitments to others, but especially in your commitments to your own growth and future. Because when self-trust erodes, the entire structure of personal progress becomes unstable. Promises to yourself become meaningless. Goals become perpetually postponed. Belief in your own potential gradually diminishes. Conversely, every instance where you honor a personal commitment, even a small one, strengthens your internal trust. Every time you follow through when it would have been easier not to, you reinforce the foundation of your character. Over months and years, this foundation becomes virtually unshakable. Your daily presence shifts from something requiring constant willpower to something that feels natural, part of your core identity rather than an occasional performance. You simply cannot generate sustainable results without this level of consistency.
You cannot experience meaningful personal growth without disciplined repetition. You cannot create lasting change without regular, intentional effort. Dreams demand far more than passionate desire. They demand daily presence in big and small ways, visible and completely invisible ways. Every component contributes, every component matters. The individuals who ultimately succeed are not necessarily those who began with the smoothest circumstances or received the most fortunate breaks. They are those who maintained presence long after others grew weary or discouraged. They are those who continued refining their skills and pursuing their direction during periods when no audience was paying attention. They are those who remained loyal to their personal process even when rewards arrived slowly or sporadically. Every new day brings a fresh opportunity to demonstrate stronger presence than the day before. Every morning offers a clean slate to make choices that leave you feeling genuinely proud of your effort. Every day you are actively writing your life story through the quality of your presence and choices. Will this day become another forgotten entry, or will it become a page you can reflect on with satisfaction, knowing you honored your deeper intentions? You owe this level of daily presence to yourself, to the future reality you have been envisioning, to the internal pull that continues to guide you, to the earlier version of yourself who still believed wholeheartedly in what was possible, to the person you are actively becoming through consistent effort. And this presence need not always appear dramatic or monumental. Sometimes it manifests as quiet, focused work on meaningful goals when countless easier distractions are available. Sometimes it looks like making one consciously better choice today than yesterday's default. Sometimes it appears as offering your genuine best effort even when personal resources feel limited. Small, consistent acts of presence remain profoundly impactful. Incremental progress remains real progress. The only true loss is to cease showing up for yourself entirely. The only true failure is to conclude that your goals and vision are no longer worth the required daily presence. Your emotional state will naturally fluctuate, some days bringing abundant energy and inspiration, others bringing fatigue or emotional flatness. These fluctuations are normal and expected. What must remain constant is your commitment to presence, continually laying one intentional stone upon the previous, steadily accumulating days of aligned action, because your daily choices ultimately determine your long-term reality. Presence during enjoyable or rewarding periods is relatively common. What creates genuine distinction is presence during periods of invisibility, anonymity, apparent stagnation. If you can master the practice of daily presence for yourself, you gain the capacity to construct virtually anything meaningful. Transformed health, financial independence, deeply fulfilling relationships, a life aligned with your deepest values. But the entire process begins and is sustained by your personal willingness to be reliably present for your own growth. No external person can invest the necessary hours on your behalf. No one else can endure the personal challenges and internal resistance. It must be you choosing, day after day, to prioritize your future over momentary comfort. You must develop the ability to look honestly at yourself and acknowledge, today I did not abandon my commitments. Today I did not allow transient feelings to override my deeper intentions. Today I chose my long-term vision over short-term ease. There is no elaborate secret formula for lasting achievement. There is no hidden shortcut that bypasses this requirement. There is only the daily reality of performing necessary work, even when easier alternatives constantly present themselves. And each time you choose presence anyway, you accumulate a bit more internal strength, a bit more genuine resilience, a bit more evidence-based belief in your own capacity. Eventually, you will survey your life and recognize that everything you once deeply desired has become your present reality, not because circumstances magically aligned or someone delivered it to you, but because you maintained daily presence for yourself when no one else could see or appreciate the vision you carried. You are the author of your future through every daily choice about your presence. Make those choices count. Craft a life that reflects the depth of commitment and self-respect you demonstrated when continuing would have been challenging, but quitting would have been easier. Be present for yourself, not occasionally, not conditionally, but every single day. Chapter 5. Eliminate every focus-draining distraction. The modern world presents an abundance of possibilities, but a severe scarcity of sustained attention. Beginning new pursuits feels relatively simple. Maintaining focused effort long enough to reach meaningful completion is exceptionally rare.
Every day, hundreds of potential interruptions compete aggressively for fragments of your mind, your time, your vital energy. If you do not develop and enforce serious boundaries around these distractions, they will gradually consume your most precious resource and, by extension, your future potential. True focus is not something you stumble upon or wait to discover. It is something you actively construct through deliberate protection and systematic removal of everything that weakens or fragments it. You have important aspirations to pursue, meaningful goals to achieve, an entire life to intentionally shape. You cannot permit hours, days, or years to be lost to activities and inputs that provide no genuine return on your investment. You cannot allow your attention to be constantly hijacked by trivial notifications, passing opinions, or temptations that feel easier in the moment than engaging in the deeper work required for real progress. Every distraction you permit carries a hidden but substantial cost, and that cost is ultimately extracted from your future possibilities. When you fail to control where your attention flows, someone or something else inevitably fills the vacuum, and the broader world has no inherent investment in your personal dreams or long-term well-being. It is designed to capture and monetize your time while offering little of lasting value in return. You must become substantially wiser and more intentional than the default, learning to recognize distractions for what they truly are, sophisticated thieves that steal your most irreplaceable assets, your time, your creative energy, your sustained focus, your ultimate destiny. The practice of eliminating distractions is not merely a productivity technique. It is a profound act of reclaiming your vitality and personal sovereignty. It is a clear declaration that you refuse to live as a passive recipient of constant interruption, refuse to dissipate your potential through gossip, mindless consumption, or entertainment that adds nothing substantive to your growth or capabilities. It is choosing to stand firmly and declare that your life possesses too much inherent value to be gradually eroded by meaningless expenditure of attention. The essential first step in effective distraction elimination is unflinching self-honesty, conducting a thorough audit of your typical day to identify exactly what is stealing your focus, where hours disappear without conscious choice, which habits provide temporary relief but deliver no meaningful return. You cannot effectively address patterns you refuse to acknowledge. Once identified, the next critical step is redesigning your environment to actively support sustained focus rather than undermine it. This means intentionally structuring your physical and digital spaces to make focused work easier and distractions more difficult. Removing unnecessary clutter, silencing non-essential notifications,
physically separating yourself from common temptation sources, creating clear boundaries around work periods. You cannot reasonably expect to maintain deep concentration in an environment specifically engineered to fragment attention at every opportunity. Equally important is protecting your mental and emotional environment. Not every potential conversation or social interaction deserves your participation. Not every online debate or conflict merits your engagement. Not every negative or fear-based opinion requires your mental processing or response. You must learn to guard your inner peace with the same seriousness you would guard your future potential, because they are inextricably linked. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled into dynamics that drain rather than replenish you, you lose valuable momentum and energy that could have been directed toward your genuine priorities. If you are consistently expending mental and emotional resources on activities or relationships that do not align with your deeper mission, real progress becomes substantially harder. To create sustainable focus, you need systems and boundaries that make deep work the default path. This might include designated uninterrupted work blocks, complete notification silencing during focus periods, strict limits on exposure to attention-fragmenting platforms, and clear personal policies about when and how you engage with non-essential inputs. If maintaining focus for full days feels overwhelming initially, begin smaller. Commit to one truly protected hour of deep work daily and gradually expand from there. The key is building momentum through small, consistent wins. Every distraction you successfully remove functions as a meaningful gift to your future self. Every temptation you consciously resist represents a direct investment in your long-term capability and resilience. Every instance where you choose sustained focus over immediate ease sharpens your mental discipline and moves you measurably closer to the life you are truly capable of creating. These choices accumulate powerfully over time. Distractions exist not only externally, but also internally as well. Persistent self-doubt, excessive rumination about past mistakes, chronic worry about others' perceptions, paralyzing fear of potential failure. You must develop equal discipline in managing internal noise, learning to recognize when your mind has wandered into unproductive territory, gently acknowledging the thought pattern, and consciously redirecting attention back to meaningful action. You must cultivate the ability to tell yourself, firmly but compassionately, this current thought pattern is not serving my progress, and return focus to the task at hand. Building a life of genuine significance and fulfillment requires substantially more than raw talent or intelligence. It requires sustained endurance. It requires the increasingly rare ability to remain committed to important pursuits long after initial excitement has faded, to continue investing effort when no audience is observing and no immediate rewards are forthcoming.
This level of endurance can only develop and thrive in an environment where distractions, both external and internal, have been systematically minimized or eliminated. You will inevitably need to make meaningful sacrifices along this path. You will need to decline invitations and opportunities that others readily accept. You will need to temporarily miss certain social trends, conversations, or entertainment that feel compelling in the moment. You will need to endure periods of feeling like you are missing out on certain experiences. But with perspective and time, you will recognize that you missed nothing of true importance, that the only pursuit genuinely worth your full attention was the development and realization of your own highest potential. The deepest battle for focus is rarely against external forces alone. It is primarily internal. Can you maintain clear vision for your own direction when countless alternatives constantly compete for your attention? Can you remain committed to meaningful work when immediate gratification is always one click or swipe away? Can you continue forward progress when new distractions cleverly disguise themselves as legitimate opportunities or necessary obligations? This ongoing internal test is what ultimately separates those who merely wish for better outcomes from those who consistently achieve them. Every conscious choice to prioritize focus over immediate distraction is simultaneously a choice to prioritize your future over present impulses. Every no you deliver to a meaningless distraction is simultaneously a yes to your deeper aspirations. Every door you close to irrelevant input opens wider access to meaningful progress. The goal is not absolute perfection in focus, it is consistent intentionality, maintaining clear awareness of what you are building and fierce determination to protect the path that leads there. No external entity will step in to organize your time more effectively, clear your mental space, or enforce your personal boundaries. That responsibility and the extraordinary power it brings belongs entirely to you. It represents your opportunity to seize genuine control over your mind, your daily focus, and ultimately your entire future trajectory. The day you commit to systematically eliminating every focus-draining distraction marks the beginning of rapid acceleration in your progress. You begin experiencing results more quickly because your energy is concentrated rather than scattered. You begin waking with greater clarity and natural energy because your mental space is no longer cluttered with unresolved noise. You begin living with substantially deeper purpose because your daily actions align more closely with your authentic priorities. Your strength is no longer diluted across countless unimportant battles. There is no mysterious formula for exceptional achievement, only the application of clear, sustained focus day after day, consistent, meaningful action fueled by carefully protected energy, and the ongoing, disciplined removal of anything attempting to derail your progress. This is the mechanism through which dreams transform from abstract desires into concrete reality. This is the process through which ordinary lives become extraordinary. You do not need to be more intelligent than others, more fortunate, or more naturally gifted. You simply need to become more focused, more disciplined, more determined to safeguard your time, your energy, and your mental clarity than the average person. This is your season to establish sharper boundaries. This is your opportunity to become substantially stricter about what you permit into your life and attention. This is your moment to declare unequivocally that no external distraction, however tempting or cleverly disguised, will be allowed to derail the future you are intentionally constructing. Identify distractions clearly. Eliminate them decisively. If something consistently weakens your focus, eliminate it. If something regularly steals your productive time, eliminate it. If something predictably drains your energy without meaningful return, eliminate it. If something diminishes your inner light or clarity, eliminate it. Your deepest dreams deserve the full strength of your undivided attention. Your future deserves the complete focus of your daily energy. Remain deeply committed. Remain intentionally focused. Remain locked into your priorities, because the life you truly desire exists on the other side of the distractions you demonstrate the courage to eliminate today. Chapter 6. Take full ownership of your life without blame. There comes a pivotal moment in every meaningful personal journey when you must make an irreversible choice about how you will approach your life going forward. You must decide whether you will continue the pattern of pointing fingers outward, assigning responsibility for your circumstances to others or to external conditions, or whether you will step fully into complete ownership of everything you wish to improve or change. Until you embrace full ownership of your life without resorting to blame for anything, you remain effectively stuck, trapped in a state of powerlessness that prevents genuine forward progress.
The day you accept complete responsibility is the day you unlock true agency over your future. Blame feels temporarily comforting because it provides an external explanation for difficulties, allowing you to avoid confronting personal contributions to current circumstances. It creates the illusion that your challenges are not within your control to address. But this comfort comes at an enormous long-term cost. When you blame others or circumstances, you simultaneously hand over control of your life to those very factors. When you focus on assigning fault externally, you surrender your ability to create solutions. As long as primary responsibility appears to lie elsewhere, meaningful change feels permanently out of reach. True ownership means accepting full responsibility for your current reality, your daily choices, your established habits, your prevailing mindset, your achieved outcomes, while recognizing that this acceptance is not about harsh self-condemnation, but about reclaiming your inherent power to make different choices beginning immediately. You are not permanently trapped by past decisions or external events. You are not helpless against present circumstances. You are not damaged beyond recovery. You are simply standing at a decision point where choosing ownership opens the path forward, while continued blame keeps you anchored in place. When you release blame, you create space for construction.
When you eliminate excuses, you create space for solutions. When you move beyond seeing yourself as primarily a victim of circumstances, you begin operating from the mindset of a creator and leader of your own life. This fundamental shift alters everything in profound ways. Suddenly, obstacles lose their permanent quality. Past mistakes transform from defining failures into valuable lessons and future building materials. Ownership does not require denying that your starting point may have been genuinely difficult or unfair. It does not require pretending that setbacks or hurtful actions from others never occurred. It does require recognizing that regardless of how you arrived at your current position, what matters most now is your chosen response and the new directions you decide to pursue. You cannot alter historical events, but you can actively shape everything that follows. You can transform past disadvantages into unique sources of strength and perspective. You can convert previous failures into advanced training for future success. You can allow every setback to sharpen your determination rather than serve as permanent justification for reduced effort. The most resilient and accomplished individuals you will ever encounter are almost always those who made the conscious decision to stop blaming long ago. They do not waste precious energy complaining about difficulty or wishing circumstances were different. They awaken each day and work purposefully with whatever resources and conditions are currently available to them. They focus on solutions rather than problems. They maintain forward motion regardless of external fairness. They accept complete ownership over every aspect of their journey, celebrating victories as earned and treating challenges as opportunities for growth. Taking true ownership often requires confronting uncomfortable personal truths. It means acknowledging periods where you have been inconsistent or lazy in pursuit of your goals. It means recognizing times when fear rather than wisdom guided major decisions. It means clearly seeing where your own choices or inaction contributed to current outcomes, not to engage in self-punishment, but to gain the clarity necessary for meaningful improvement. Genuine transformation always begins with genuine honesty, the private, unflinching kind you practice when no one else is watching. Every instance where you accept responsibility for an aspect of your life, regardless of how it arrived there, is an instance where you simultaneously reclaim personal power.
You stop waiting passively for external rescue or for conditions to magically improve. You stop hoping someone else will arrive to make things easier or clearer. You step fully into your available strength and begin deliberately shaping your own path and destiny. No one is owed your achievement of your deepest aspirations. No one is obligated to deliver success or opportunity to you. It is your personal responsibility to show up for your own growth every day. It is your responsibility to persist through difficult periods. It is your responsibility to maintain focus when life becomes complicated or chaotic. It is your responsibility to continue forward when external encouragement or recognition is minimal. Your life, from beginning to ongoing evolution, is your domain of responsibility. It may not have been your fault that certain challenges or setbacks occurred, but it is your responsibility to rise above them and continue building. It may not have been within your control that life presented unfair obstacles, but it is within your power to navigate around or through them. It may not have been your intention to experience hurt from others' actions, but it is your opportunity to heal, learn, and move forward stronger. Responsibility in this context is not about assigning blame, including to yourself. It is about recognizing and embracing your agency, the real control you possess over what happens next, regardless of what happened before. Difficult circumstances and challenges are universal experiences, but so is the human capacity for adaptation, resilience, and creation of new possibilities, even from constrained starting points. The individuals who live with the greatest sense of personal power are rarely those who experience the easiest or most privileged paths. They are those who reached a point of refusing to allow anything external to permanently dictate their internal possibilities or future outcomes. They accepted ownership over their strengths and limitations, over their past choices and present opportunities, and continued building regardless of external conditions. They understood at a deep level that blame ultimately constructs nothing of lasting value. It is remarkably easy to compile extensive lists of reasons explaining why you have not yet reached desired outcomes, pointing to other people, economic conditions, past experiences, current obstacles. But every minute invested in blame is a minute diverted from active construction. Every moment spent justifying current position through external factors is a moment not spent creating forward progress. The long-term cost of this pattern is simply too great to sustain. You cannot afford to invest your limited time and energy in blame of any kind. Ownership, by contrast, is genuine liberation. When you fully own your life, you recognize that every possible step forward lies within your sphere of influence. Every potential improvement is accessible through your choices. Every level of personal growth becomes something you can actively pursue rather than passively hope for. You stop waiting for external conditions to become perfect. You stop hoping someone else will arrive to make things easier or clearer. You step fully into your available strength and begin deliberately shaping your own path and destiny.
This ownership is not about achieving immediate perfection in every area. It is about accepting responsibility for consistent progress. It is about showing up for yourself even when internal resistance or external difficulty tempts avoidance. It is about maintaining forward motion even while carrying the weight of past experiences or current challenges. It is about maintaining belief that your best possible future lies ahead rather than behind you. If you are serious about creating a life of genuine fulfillment and impact, you owe it to yourself to embrace complete ownership of your entire journey. You owe it to the version of yourself who will one day reflect on this period, hoping you chose persistence over resignation. You owe it to the dreams and aspirations that were placed within you for meaningful reasons.
You owe it to every part of you that still recognizes your capacity for something greater. Own your daily decisions without reservation. Own your established habits and the results they produce. Own your prevailing mindset and its influence on your experience. Own your outcomes, celebrating the positive ones as earned and treating the challenging ones as opportunities for course correction. Whether circumstances feel favorable or adverse, expected or surprising, own them all. Because the moment you accept complete ownership is simultaneously the moment you gain complete power to change and improve everything. Life is not primarily about what events occur to you. It is primarily about what you choose to do in response. It is about the standards you establish and maintain for yourself. It is about the quality of effort you bring daily, even when no external observer notices. There is no more solid foundation for a powerful life than one built on complete personal responsibility. No shortcuts around difficulty, no excuses for inaction, no blame-deflecting agency. Only pure ownership, genuine courage, and consistent forward motion. If you remain committed to owning your life fully, without blaming anyone or anything for your current position, you will construct an existence so internally strong that no external challenge can permanently destroy it. You will build a future so rooted in your own deliberate choices that no outside force can permanently derail it. This is your life, your unique opportunity and responsibility. Own it completely. Live it intentionally. Build it relentlessly, recognizing that the power to shape it has always resided within you. Chapter 7. Drive yourself harder when quitting tempts. There will always come periods, sometimes brief moments, sometimes extended seasons, when continuing feels substantially more difficult than quitting. Regardless of how grand your aspirations are or how strongly you began, there will be times when the weight of the journey appears to exceed your current strength. These are the defining periods. These are the moments that ultimately determine your trajectory. Because every person pursuing something meaningful experiences the temptation to quit at various points. What separates those who achieve extraordinary outcomes is not the absence of this temptation, but the choice to drive forward with even greater intensity precisely when quitting feels most reasonable. The primary reason most individuals never reach their fullest potential is not lack of initial ability or vision. It is that when pressure intensifies, when discomfort becomes acute, when progress appears stalled, they choose retreat. They seek escape routes, accept comforting rationalizations, or believe the internal narrative suggesting further effort is pointless. But genuine success belongs exclusively to those who continue advancing when every emotional signal suggests stopping would be wiser. You cannot permit temporary emotional states to make permanent decisions about your future. Your feelings are valid, but transient. Some days you awaken filled with natural energy and clarity. Other days you feel depleted before meaningful effort has even begun. Your long-term reality is not constructed on the foundation of daily emotional weather. It is constructed on your chosen actions during periods of difficulty, on your decisions you make when your inner drive feels diminished rather than amplified. Driving yourself harder does not require pretending challenges are easy or discomfort is absent. It requires acknowledging pain and difficulty as natural parts of any worthwhile process, while refusing to let them dictate your final choices. It requires recognizing that history's greatest accomplishments almost always emerged from periods of greatest struggle. It requires understanding that the urge to quit is not a reliable signal to stop. It is often a signal you are approaching a new level of personal capability that requires pushing through current limitations. When you encounter significant resistance, whether internal exhaustion or external obstacles, most people respond by slowing, pausing, or retreating entirely. But you must train yourself to respond differently, to view intense resistance as confirmation you are engaging in something meaningful, to treat struggle as evidence you are on a path requiring real growth. Because authentic personal development only occurs when you are consistently stretched beyond previous comfort zones. Every individual who has achieved something widely admired has passed through moments where quitting appeared to be the smarter, safer, or more logical option, but they chose to drive harder anyway. They refused to let temporary depletion write the conclusion of their story. They discovered ways to access additional effort when their reserves appeared empty. They decided that current pain would not have the authority to end their pursuit. You must develop the capacity to override the internal voice that argues continued effort is futile or excessive. You must become wiser than the emotional waves that plead for relief through surrender. You must maintain primary loyalty to your long-term vision rather than to momentary comfort. Because comfort is deceptive, it will consistently offer to trade your entire future progress for immediate emotional relief. And every time you accept that trade, you move further away from the life you are truly capable of creating. Every meaningful pursuit contains at least one critical moment where quitting feels like the most reasonable available option. That moment functions as a gatekeeper, separating those who only dream from those who ultimately achieve. If you can learn to drive yourself harder exactly when quitting feels most tempting, you develop the capacity to push through virtually any obstacle.
If you can consistently find the internal resources to take one additional meaningful step, to invest one additional unit of focused effort, to hold your commitment for one additional day when surrender feels justified, you will discover a version of yourself capable of accomplishments previously unimaginable. The temptation to quit arrives with compelling arguments that your effort has been wasted, that the challenge is objectively too great, that continued pursuit is no longer worth the cost. But the deeper truth is almost always the opposite. Pursuits that demand substantial, sustained effort from you are precisely the ones most likely to deliver substantial rewards. The magnitude of required struggle is often proportional to the magnitude of potential reward waiting beyond it. When quitting feels most appealing, consciously pause and reconnect with your original reasons for beginning. Revisit the vision that initially ignited passionate commitment. Recall the internal promises you made to yourself during periods of clarity and confidence. Reconnect with the future reality that remains possible if you refuse to surrender at this particular juncture. The urge to quit frequently intensifies precisely because you are closer to meaningful breakthrough than current circumstances suggest, because real transformation lies just beyond the current zone of maximum discomfort, doubt, and apparent stagnation. Develop the specific habit of pushing yourself one deliberate step beyond your normal stopping point whenever resistance peaks. Train yourself to extend effort slightly further each time the quitting impulse arises. One additional repetition in training, one additional page of focused work, one additional meaningful action when depletion feels complete. These marginal extensions are where true separation from average outcomes occurs. These are the moments where authentic greatness is forged. No one else can provide this extra push on your behalf. No external source can generate the internal decision to continue when conditions feel overwhelming. This is the domain where you either save and elevate yourself through personal choice or allow temporary difficulty to define your limits. This is where you demonstrate to yourself, beyond any external validation, that your commitment to your dreams is genuine and deep.
Once you prove this capacity to yourself through repeated choice, it becomes an internal resource you can access in any future challenge. Every time you successfully drive yourself harder when quitting tempts most strongly, you construct something invaluable within your character. You build authentic mental toughness capable of withstanding increasing pressure. You develop genuine emotional resilience that recovers quickly from disappointment. You create a character foundation strong enough to support substantial future success without buckling. You establish an internal standard that pain or difficulty alone will not be sufficient reason to abandon meaningful pursuits. The individuals who ultimately win are not those born with superhuman traits. They are ordinary people who develop the habit of continuing after they strongly desired to quit. They are those who pushed through one additional critical effort cycle. They are those who maintain trust that their future possibilities outweighed their current emotional discomfort. They are those who made the internal decision that temporary pain would not permanently deter them from their deeper purpose. You possess the exact same latent capacity. It is not concealed or inaccessible. It is simply awaiting your repeated choice to activate it during moments when the path feels hardest. It is awaiting your decision to stand firm when every emotional signal suggests sitting down would be wiser. Do not surrender your future potential at moments of peak difficulty. Do not abandon the life you have been consistently working to create. Drive yourself harder, with greater internal conviction than you have previously accessed. Recognize that every small but deliberate step forward during maximum resistance is actively shaping the stronger, more capable person you are becoming. You will never regret choosing continued effort when it mattered most. You will never regret selecting resilience over surrender. You will never regret maintaining commitment to yourself when external expectations might have been to fold. But quitting during critical moments carries the heavy long-term burden of perpetual wondering about what might have been possible. You owe yourself the opportunity to discover exactly how far genuine commitment can take you. You owe yourself the experience of becoming someone capable of achieving what once felt impossible. You owe your deepest dreams the most intense effort possible precisely when quitting feels most justified. These challenging periods are where authentic personal strength is developed. These are where individual futures are truly determined. Drive harder. Maintain your position when retreat tempts. Continue forward motion regardless of current emotional weather. Your future self will express daily gratitude for your present refusal to quit when continuing felt hardest. Chapter 8. Have faith in your journey even when progress hides. There are inevitable seasons in any meaningful pursuit where you invest substantial effort but visible results remain elusive. You maintain early routines and late sessions. You direct significant energy towards your goals, yet external evidence of progress feels distant or absent. This is the precise period where most individuals lose faith and abandon their direction. This is where internal doubt begins to amplify, suggesting that perhaps the effort is misplaced or the goal unrealistic. But the deeper reality is that authentic growth and progress almost always develop substantially before becoming externally visible.
True success is earned through extended periods of quiet, consistent work long before it receives public recognition or validation. Having faith in your journey means cultivating the ability to believe in and continue investing in processes whose benefits are not yet apparent. It means developing sufficient patience to remain committed to your chosen direction even when the broader world has not yet acknowledged your effort. It means maintaining enough internal trust to continue nurturing seeds that have not yet broken through the surface.
Remaining consistent when progress is clearly visible is relatively straightforward. Maintaining commitment when everything within you questions whether the approach is working represents the genuine test of character and conviction. Most people do not fail due to insufficient initial potential or resources. They fail because they lack the patience required to continue after early momentum fades and results remain hidden. They plant promising seeds but abandon the field prematurely, seeking quicker gratification elsewhere. They begin with strong intention but discontinue before the natural harvest time arrives. The individuals who ultimately achieve extraordinary outcomes are those who remain faithful to their process during these extended invisible periods. They maintain internal trust that their consistent effort is accumulating value even when emotional or external evidence temporarily contradicts this. You must develop the ability to trust that every meaningful action you take contributes to your foundation, even when immediate feedback is minimal. Every focused training session is quietly building physical or mental strength. Every period of deliberate study is sharpening your knowledge and capability. Every quiet morning spent clarifying and pursuing personal goals is adding another layer to the structure of your future life. You may not perceive these changes day to day, but consistent effort is never truly wasted. Energy intentionally directed towards genuine growth always compounds, even during periods when the returns feel invisible. There will be days when internal doubt speaks louder than belief, days when you question whether your aspirations are realistically attainable, days when you wonder if you are engaging in self-deception by continuing. These are exactly the days when faith in your journey matters most. Faith functions as the internal anchor that keeps you steady when emotions fluctuate and external validation is absent. Faith provides grounding when the world offers no tangible proof yet that your work is paying off. It requires genuine courage to continue meaningful work during extended periods of darkness when results remain hidden and internal questioning intensifies. It requires authentic strength to remain loyal to your direction without external trophies or acknowledgement. It requires deep resilience to maintain self-belief when your environment reflects no visible change. This type of sustained belief does not depend on external validation. It originates from internal understanding that real personal development almost always occurs internally first, long before external manifestations appear. Consider the natural process of a seed planted underground. For weeks or even months, the surface appears completely unchanged, despite regular care and watering. From an external perspective, nothing seems to be happening. But beneath the surface, roots are extending, foundations are forming, essential strength is developing entirely out of sight. The moment the first sprout finally emerges appears sudden and dramatic, but it is actually the direct result of all the patient, unseen work that preceded it. Your personal growth follows a remarkably similar pattern. You may lack visible evidence today. You may not yet feel substantially different or stronger. But if you maintain consistency in the right habits and actions, breakthrough will eventually occur. One day, the accumulated results will become too substantial to remain hidden. One day, the life you have been patiently constructing will stand clearly before you, made possible by your willingness to continue trusting and working during the periods when nothing seemed to change. Remind yourself daily during these invisible seasons that your effort is meaningful and accumulating. Every day you choose discipline over immediate gratification matters. Every difficult but values-aligned decision matters. Every time you resist distraction and return to meaningful work matters.
All of it is quietly constructing something greater than current circumstances reflect. Progress is not always dramatic or immediately perceptible. Sometimes it is quiet, gradual, cumulative, but it remains real progress nonetheless. Having faith in your journey requires consciously detaching from the cultural expectation of instant gratification. It requires accepting that the most valuable outcomes almost always demand extended time to fully develop. It respects the natural rhythms of genuine growth and transformation. You cannot force a harvest the day after planting. You cannot construct a masterpiece in a single session. You cannot rush the development of authentic greatness. You can only engage in consistent, meaningful work, remain committed to your direction, and trust that the process is unfolding according to its necessary timeline.
You were never meant to be flawless in your execution. You were meant to be resilient in your recovery. You were meant to be relentless in your pursuit of growth despite difficulty. You were meant to be someone who refuses to back down permanently from life's harder chapters. When you choose to rise after experiencing a fall, you send a powerful message both to the world and to yourself. You declare, I am not finished. I am not permanently broken. I am still actively building. I am still deeply believing in my own potential. You communicate to your own inner being that you are trustworthy, that you can be counted on to show up for yourself when it matters most, that you will not abandon your own future regardless of how intense the challenge becomes. You are not ultimately defined by the falls you experience. You are defined by the quality and consistency of your rising. You are defined by the courage required to stand again when remaining down would feel substantially easier. You are defined by your demonstrated capacity to convert pain into greater personal power, to transform setbacks into future advantages, to convert experiences of loss into deeper leadership capability. Every time you rise again, you build something far greater than external goals or achievements. You build depth of soul. You build genuine grit capable of carrying you through any future challenge. You build an inner fire that external circumstances cannot permanently extinguish. You build an internal reputation with yourself that declares no matter what difficulties arise, I will always find my way back to my path. You do not need complete answers or perfect strategies to begin rising again. You do not need absolute certainty about every future step. You simply need the internal decision that your story is not concluded yet. You simply need to trust that as long as you continue breathing and choosing, you retain the capacity for another meaningful action, another chapter of growth, another opportunity for victory. There will be rises that occur quietly and privately, no external celebration, no immediate audience, just you and your personal determination, combined with renewed belief that your life continues to matter deeply. These private, uncelebrated rises are frequently the ones that matter most. These are the ones that transform you into someone genuinely unstoppable. You possess the capacity to rise from every fall if you consistently choose to. You possess the capacity to navigate through every period of confusion if you maintain forward motion. You possess the capacity to rebuild stronger after every attempt to tear you down if you refuse to remain in a broken state. Your dreams remain alive. Your future remains achievable. Your strength continues developing beneath the surface. Rise again. Rise when you feel exhausted. Rise when fear is present. Rise when uncertainty dominates. Rise when you carry visible or invisible bruises. Rise when confusion feels intense, but rise, because every act of rising represents a personal victory.
Every rise brings you closer to the life you are truly capable of living. Every rise provides additional proof that you are not finished, that you remain actively engaged in the fight for your own potential, actively writing your story, actively becoming the person you were always meant to be. And the world has not yet witnessed your fullest expression. Rise again.